Good afternoon. My name is Richard Molina, and I have the great privilege of introducing my advisee for the last 5 years, Cassandra Madsen. It's been a while. I remember the first day Cassandra walked in the doors of Pacific Crest. Wide-eyed, nervous, a little short of breath, and wondering just the tiniest bit if this whole thing was actually going to work out. Watching each of the students as they strolled down the hallway, looking like they knew exactly what they were doing. Hoping that was just a feeling people ended up getting after a few days. And that sudden sickness in the stomach upon realizing that today would involve standing in front of a large group of strangers and teaching them differential calculus. Wait, no, that's my first day. It's weird, true story. Though she's not originally my advisee, Cassandra's first day is also my first day here at the school. So it's really hard not to feel connected to this moment. But I'm going to try my best to keep this focused on Cassandra. Rye's also been here 6 years, but Jeff's going to talk about him later, so you can just wait his turn. Anyway, I don't actually think that's how Cassandra felt at all on her first day. I'm not sure exactly where this falls on the human genome, but Cassandra has developed a sense that I don't quite understand. On her very first day, Cassandra stood there with the poise and self-possession that has been her trademark ever since. As strange as it may seem, no matter where she finds herself, Cassandra has the uncanny ability to seem exactly where she's supposed to be. Now stop and think about that for a moment. The ability to be exactly where you're supposed to be, wherever you are. How many times have you stood in a room and wondered why you were there? Or sat quietly, surrounded by conversation, thinking that maybe you're in the wrong room? I've never seen Cassandra do that. For as long as I can remember, Cassandra has been challenging the people around her just to keep up. She listens to conversations and then jumps in, creating logical arguments, pointing out inconsistencies, and offering her own insights. Don't believe me? Cassandra recently took a junior level course at Reed College, reading complex texts on some pretty conceptual philosophy and discussing them in a small group setting. She tried to tell me about these big, huge ideas, but my brain just doesn't work that way. Not least because both the text and the discussion were in German. Cassandra loves the idea of language and using it to learn and grow. When an 8 a.m. linguistics class showed up on our schedule, it was like a door opened in her brain and there was no going back. That's also one of the great things about Cassandra. 8 a.m. and linguistics don't fit anywhere together in my personal worldview. But remember, Cassandra is always exactly where she's supposed to be. With this one, it isn't even a serendipitous coincidence. But don't let me focus on her superb academics and her inquisitive spirit. Let's talk about kickball. Now don't get me wrong, I think it's important for every heroic figure to have some sort of flaw. And as flaws goes, I suppose kickball isn't a really bad one. But Cassandra, like me, and many other everyday Americans, is podiatrically challenged. Here we go. Our feet are for walking, and sometimes walking swiftly. But being brilliant at soccer, hacky sack, and unfortunately kickball is just beyond our meager abilities. So what do we do when faced with a weakness? We might shy away from the situation. Or maybe play the game with a laugh, knowing that if we hide behind a joke, it'll at least be entertaining. But Cassandra, she waits her turn in line, and then she kicks the ball. I swear I've seen her kick the ball backwards, but that's never caused her to lose her poise. Some kids at the Kris Kringle Krusty Kickball Classic kick the ball once, and then they just run off to grab some cocoa. But Cassandra takes the field, and then she gets back in line. Why? Because it's kickball time, and that's where she's supposed to be. It's the same sense of self-possession that led to Cassandra joining in the great foam weapon battles at Tapawingo. Wielding a foam whip, she battled the hordes with their spears and swords. As they ran screaming around her, she stood, calm and cool, at the center of a serenely whip-cleared circle. Cassandra doesn't get lost. She's just supposed to be somewhere, and the rest of us don't know where that is. This keeps her playing games with anyone who happens to be playing, talking to anyone who happens to be around, singing at every talent show, leaping into her interests wholeheartedly, expecting her to find exactly what she needs to find, with calm and curiosity, exactly as she's done for the entire time I've known her. Most students see graduation as the start of a new journey, but they may not want to start it just yet. Maybe they'll take some time, a month or two, after this long trek of high school and rest before moving on to whatever comes next. Not Cassandra. In less than 24 hours, she'll have begun the long flight to Germany. And not long after that comes Hawaii, where Cassandra is planning to pursue the degree in linguistics that she started working towards years ago. With her ability to jump right into any situation and be comfortable, I imagine she will have a perfect time adjusting to the myriad of languages and opportunities ahead of her, especially since it will, as usual, be exactly where she's supposed to be. Once again, Cassandra Matson.
Cassandra Sky Matson. Congratulations to the class of 2013.
So they've sat patiently and listened to us talk about them. So now is their chance to say a few words. Class of 2013.
Hello. You know who I am by now. So with that, I will give the obligatory thanking of thankworthy people. Obviously, there are my parents who have provided the important ingredients for success, such as food, support, and money to do things like go to Germany tomorrow. Seshia, for everything from gaming to nail painting and being thoroughly awesome. Alicia, for joining me on the quest for true pudding. Elizabeth, for reading pretty much everything I wrote this year. Josh, for turning out not to be stealing. Tara, for discovering things in bookstores that are perhaps best left hidden. Everyone else I can call a friend for being there for me throughout this utterly crazy year. And Rich, my advisor, to whom I present what is possibly the best page of calculus notes ever taken.
So please welcome the 2013 senior class of Pacific Crest Community School.